What's going on, guys? This is the Club with the Man 1993 coming at you for another live stream collaboration. We're today going to do a long-awaited video I've been wanting to try to do for a while. Our schedules are finally working out well, and I have a special guest with me, my good friend Robbie1Kenobi. Robbie, thank you for joining me in today's stream.
Always a pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to discussing the brand split 1 year later. So thanks again for having me on, man.
Sure thing. Yeah, thank you as well. So Robbie and I have like a list of some stuff that we're just going to go through and just discuss like the goods and the bads about the brand split, about what's happened this past year, and everything overall great. So before we get started, overall, Robbie, how do you think the brand split has done so far? Do you think it was a good move for the WWE, or do you think it's a bad move for the WWE?
Okay, so when I found out that when I first found out there was going to be a brand split, I was like, okay, this is interesting. This could benefit certain superstars depending on where they go and how they're handled. And then when I found out that Raw was getting 3 picks and SmackDown was only getting 2 because that was the equal amount of their show length, I was like, yeah, Raw's trying to sabotage SmackDown. Raw's going to get such a big hand. And in the end, SmackDown got the better bargain, so to speak, because even though they got less talent, they ended up making the best of that talent, and they ended up putting on a better product than Raw. Now, of course, that was the brand split. That was when Ryan Ward was in charge of SmackDown Live. Nowadays, SmackDown is not as good as it used to be. I remember SmackDown just being an awesome show every week, months into the brand split. But obviously now it's not. It's still solid, but it's not as awesome as it was months ago.
It's a little inconsistent right now, I'd say.
Yeah. But overall, I do feel like the brand split, like how it was formatted, it seemed like it was supposed to favor Raw, but SmackDown ultimately benefited more than like I said, you think Raw would have benefited, but like months after the brand split, it was SmackDown that was just superior. So at this point, however, I feel like both shows are just even with regards to just being a solid product. But early on, after the brand split, it was obvious what show was superior.
Right, yeah, I definitely agree. I do like how, it has opened up more doors or opportunities for other superstars as well, because if we would have had how it was before with just both shows, it would have been just, Raw being just the main show and SmackDown pretty much just being like, another version of main event or superstars or whatnot. That's what it felt like. Now, it feels like that they have their own separate brands. People have benefited from being on Raw, people benefited on SmackDown. But like you said before, it still feels like that, they're trying to still make Raw as a superior looking show. And with what happened with the superstar shakeup right after WrestleMania and going into what we've gotten lately from SmackDown, it feels like that they're treating SmackDown more like the show where talent are built, and then Raw just takes them and goes over to SmackDown. But I still think, though, if it wasn't for the brand split to begin with, there's several superstars because that's one of the main things I have listed under my notes here, is it's given a lot more superstars opportunities. I feel that if it wasn't for the brand split, they probably wouldn't be in the position they are today.
Yes, I actually do have a list of some wrestlers that benefited big time from this brand split, and then I have a list of wrestlers who really got the short end of the stick and have not benefited whatsoever from this brand split. But yeah, pretty much what you said. It opened the doors for certain superstars to really have a breakout year, a breakout shot, and for others, it just didn't really do much.
Right, because I personally, at first, I was a little bit afraid that, okay, Roman Reigns is on one show, John Cena is on the other. Are they going to just, make that one show is Roman's, one show is John's? But no, they didn't do that. They didn't really, shove them down. First, the only one who actually got a world title run was Cena, which was very brief, but at the time I was okay with it. But Roman got, his flat U.S. title reign, but he's still done some good things, especially put over one specific superstar, which his name's definitely on my list. But why don't we actually start off with that, Robbie? Robbie, who are some superstars that you think have benefited from the brand split?
Okay, so I have a list in no particular order, but these are a few names that I feel like truly benefited from the brand split. First off, I have Becky Lynch. She never went to SmackDown, and she was on Raw. I feel like she would be in the position that Mickie James and Emma, up until Monday night, was in, you're just there and they use you once in a while, but they don't really do much with you. With Becky, they gave her they knew what an asset she was. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship at Backlash. She became the inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion, which I thought was well deserved because I always felt Becky Lynch was a dark horse in WWE and in NXT. So for her to win that title, I thought it was so awesome. It was well deserved. And even though she didn't really defend it that much because of she came down with illness and she had to be out for like a few weeks. I feel like even after she lost the title, she was still in notable feuds like with Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. And, they just utilized her well. So I feel like Becky Lynch definitely benefited from going to SmackDown because she was one of the top women's wrestlers. Another one that really benefited from the brand split, and you may be surprised that I have him on here, is AJ Styles. Basically because if he was on Raw and they gave him the Universal Championship, I think they would have booked him like a traditional chicken shit champion. But
like how Kevin Owens ended up being pretty much.
Yeah, but on SmackDown, when he won the WWE Championship, they booked him like a truly strong champion. He did everything his own way. He only got assistance once in retaining the title, and that was, of course, James Ellsworth at TLC.
Also a good match that they had that night, though, definitely.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, AJ killed it as WWE champion during his run, and he's, I think he's a good United States champion for now. He's bringing back the U.S. Open Challenge. He's been doing fine on SmackDown. I think really when he got drafted and after he beat John Cena and after he won the WWE Championship, he was off, like on a rocket. Like he just did so well. Definitely, he was definitely the MVP of 2016 for everything he did before and during and following the brand split. So yeah, AJ Styles definitely benefited.
Do you ask you this question though? If he went to Raw, do you think he would have beaten John Cena at SummerSlam? Because I had the doubt that he may not have, because if he was not under Ryan Ward's writing, they could have screwed him.
I think he would have lost to Cena if he wasn't on SmackDown. I think he would have lost to Cena, and then I don't know, but I'm so happy he went to SmackDown where they treated him right, because they knew on SmackDown how much of an asset he is as a wrestler. He's one of the best in the company, and they treated him like the champion he is. So I was so happy he got the booking that he got, and he was portrayed like a true champion, not a chick. He was a heel, but he wasn't a chicken shit heel champion. He was a strong heel who backed it up in the ring. So I loved it.
And SmackDown Live became the house that AJ Styles built.
Yes, he became that runs the place.
And he beat up John Cena.
Yeah. Beat up John Cena. SummerSlam.
Loved it when he said that.
Yes.
Of course, his buddies there didn't benefit so much from going over to Raw, but we're going to stay on the positive category for now.
I'll talk about them right now. Okay, I personally didn't want to see the club split up because I wanted them to go to SmackDown, and I wanted them to dominate SmackDown like they did New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor.
Oh, yes.
That wasn't the case. When Gallows and Anderson got split from John Cena, not from John Cena, from AJ Styles, I got worried. But when they came out and they beat up the New Day, and they think they beat up a New Day fan or a plant, whoever he was, wearing a New Day shirt, I was like, okay, I see where they're going here. They're going to build Gallows and Anderson up as just these dominant guys,
Yes. Then
came SummerSlam. And then came Jon Stewart. And then came
ring postitis, the retirement homes, the old day.
That was the nail in the coffin, I think, right there. The old day.
You wonder though, because they remember at SummerSlam they did tease that backstage segment between Styles, the club, and Finn Balor. You wonder if maybe they had some intention of pairing up with Balor eventually, which may be why they put them on Raw instead of SmackDown. But now with how crappy you booked them, I couldn't take the Balor Club seriously if they formed, because Finn's doing okay, but I wish he was in a little better position. He never got his title rematch from losing the title he never lost. But the club, they're legit. To me, they're no better than the Ascension right now because of how badly they're being booked.
No, and I agree. Finn's doing all right, but he should be doing better, and that's the inconsistency you're talking about. He had never lost the Universal title. Yes, he fought in the Fatal 5-Way to try to win a shot to get the title back, But after that, like, I don't have a problem with him feuding with with Bray Wyatt, but why not, like, why wasn't that done before SummerSlam so then they could do Brock and Balor, you know?
Right, yeah.
At
Or at
least
least,
Balor's
be
trying to get,
SummerSlam be like the wrap up their feud, you know?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong. I loved the Fatal 4-Way we got for the title at SummerSlam. They nearly
Oh, yes.
tore Brooklyn apart, just beating the hell out of each other, all four of those guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Balor's doing okay, but he should be doing better. Because, I mean, just look at how he was on NXT. He was the face that ran that place.
Yes, he did.
But Gallows and Anderson, oh, God, man. Like, I feel so bad for them because they finally got the Raw Tag Team Championships, and then what was their reward?
They were complete crap.
They got fed to the big dog.
Roman Reigns. Do you remember this match? Do you remember that one match? It was right before WrestleMania. It was the match that was booked for Cesaro and Sheamus to get punished because they were supporting Mick Foley. It was the episode they got fired. And they literally had the club pair up with Enzo and Cass to take on Sheamus and Cesaro. And if they lost, they were out of the tag title match at Mania. Enzo and Cass come out, and they're like, "Oh, we want to take you out of this title shot as well." And instead, they just brawl with the club, hand them to be fed to Sheamus and Cesaro, and just pretty much let them win.
Yeah.
What sense did that make?
I did, yeah. If it was booked, okay, that was something different. You know, having those guys team up to go after Cesaro because it was punishment, and had it been done right, that would have been fresh. But no, instead, Gallows and Anderson got beat up again. Like, see. They definitely didn't benefit from the brand split, and I feel so bad for those guys. That's why I asked you, should they leave or should they go to NXT or SmackDown?
Yeah, I mean, if it was under Ryan Ward's writing, put him on SmackDown. But since Ryan Ward's not the head writer anymore, I'm not sure if I completely trust the idea of them going over to SmackDown. I mean, personally, they probably should go somewhere else where they're going to be treated better. But, like, you know, I mean, I don't know much about their history outside of the WWE, but where else do they have something to do, you know?
Yeah.
That's
maybe Lucha Underground. Maybe Lucha Underground.
That's a good possibility, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, AJ Styles benefited really well, but Gallows and Anderson didn't benefit really well.
No.
One other person that I'm really sick and tired of seeing not benefit from being on Monday Night Raw is my favorite boss and your favorite boss, Sasha Banks.
Yes, another one too. I don't. Why do they keep putting the title on her and then taking it right back off of her? They're making her title runs feel useless. Like, you forget she's a 4-time women's champion, but they only lasted like what, 20 days or less?
Each of them lasted a month except for the most recent one.
Oh my goodness, I don't know why they keep doing that to her. I mean, part of me wonders they only did it this time because, you know, the rumors of a possible 4-on-4 4 horsewomen of WWE against the 4 horsewomen of the MMA. But still, it's like, you're doing it too many times. It comes to a point where it's like, you got to stop this because, you know, it's making her not look like a strong champion at all.
No.
And she's awesome. I love Sasha. I mean, she definitely is championship worthy, but they're just not giving her the chance to have like a long, lengthy title reign.
Dude, when she was on NXT, she was women's champion for about 6 months before she dropped Bayley. But when she won, like, I think it was Hell in a Cell when she lost the title, and I was like, dude, she needs to go to SmackDown because they don't know how to treat her like a true champion on Raw. That's when I was like really pissed off that she won the belt back, and then she drops it at Hell in a Cell. Like, she kept winning it on Raw, but then she dropped it at the pay-per-views, and I hate it. That was booking.
I did too. The least favorite match of that feud, I thought, was the match that should not have happened again. Was that Iron Woman match at Roadblock, which I don't think you watched that. I remember I was following you at the time. You said that you weren't going to bother watching Roadblock, but dude, I went there live with Dan. You didn't miss any. That match was just crap. Like, it went on for like 20 minutes without one single pinfall, and Sasha literally had the victory there. And she tapped out with like 3 seconds left to tie it back up, going to sudden death, and she lost. It's like, what was that all about? Like, you're making her look even worse.
I know, man.
A feud that I personally thought really, you know, put a statement on women's wrestling for the year. Like, overall was good, but just how Sasha came out of it, I just thought it was just unfair because she, you know, definitely deserves something more than what she got, not just 3 really brief title reigns, you know?
She did have a great feud with Charlotte, but I feel like the Iron Woman match was forced.
It
wasn't special as Bayley and Sasha, you know, because they had enough time to build up to it. It was coming off the historic TakeOver Brooklyn Classic. I feel like they just said, okay, well, we're gonna throw Sasha and Charlotte in an Iron Woman match just because we can do that. Because the women's revolution, nah, it shouldn't have happened.
It should have ended at Hell in a Cell. I felt.
Yeah.
Especially if you main evented the pay-per-view, you know. That should have been something, because that's how it was for Bayley and Sasha in NXT. They main evented their last match, which was the Iron Man match.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. Real quick, others who I feel like benefited from the brand split, definitely Alexa Bliss, because they built her up as a strong contender. Then she eventually won the SmackDown Women's Championship, and she did great as champion. And even after the brand split with the Superstar Shakeup, she's still doing great things as a women's champion. She's the Raw Women's Champion, 2-time Raw Women's Champion. Very happy Alexa did well. Was just surprised that she didn't get an NXT Women's title run, but hey, at least they saw big things in her on both brands. I also feel like Nikki Bella benefited from the brand split only because it wasn't forced. They didn't shove her down our throats or force, give her that force push. Like she naturally grew onto what's the word? They pushed her organically, and she organically won us over. If that makes sense.
Right, I agree. I remember at first when she came back at SummerSlam, I was a little bit worried. I'm like, are they going to do this all over again? Because that's how I was still, it was still new to me, and I was still worried. They're going to make it one show, one person, the other show, the other person show. And I thought that since SmackDown at the time probably had a lot of the more fresher faces, like people who hadn't had as much success in WWE as like Charlotte or Sasha, and then on Raw, like Carmella or Becky Lynch or Alexa. I thought that, what if they put Nikki on SmackDown? She might just get in the way of all of that. But no, I mean, I agree. Like, honestly, with how she was built, I wouldn't have minded her winning the Women's Championship at all if they kept it like that. But she as well, too. One thing I definitely liked about Nikki was the fact that she was involved in several non-women's title feuds, which shows WWE that, hey, you can do more with the women than just feud for the title, especially hers and Natalia's feud. That was probably my favorite out of any of those non-women's title feuds, was that one.
Those girls killed it in that feud. And and Natalia, like the thing on Talking Smack, I miss Talking Smack, where they were fighting and Natalia grabs Nikki by the arm and pulls her up to the glass. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that. 'Cause I remember like Cena came in on like later in the show, and he didn't even know what happened, and then he just shows him like her getting that smack that slam to the glass. He's like, "Ooh, I gotta go check on my lady," pretty much, or something like that. But he just didn't have no idea what was going on. But yeah, that feud was definitely
no. And it's like you said, man. Now on SmackDown, even though they make all their women relevant and they build them up, like this one could fight for the title, this one could contend. It's mainly just #1 contenders matches and title matches. That's it. No serious women's feuds that don't involve the title. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, like, at the Superstar Shakeup, they brought over Charlotte, which we know she can be a contender, but why isn't she, in one of those, non-women's title matches? Like, she could at least do a good job, keeping her credibility, but also, helping build up, she could feud with, Carmella, or even her and Becky can probably go at it again somehow. Because besides her, they brought in Tamina, who, I'm sorry, she's been complete trash since she came over. I really don't have been liking what I've seen with her. And then, Lana, why is Lana still a heel? That is my question. Really, with how they're building her up right now and the crowd's loving her, she feels more like this underdog character. I know they're about to back off on her and make her more of a manager for now until her in-ring skills improve. But other than that, it's just she keeps saying she's this ravishing, successful. What did you do good besides the fact that you kept losing to Naomi and looking like complete crap? Personally, I can't take this seriously. This pairing of her and Tamina seriously. There's two of them that I'm not as high on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. What I think what I think should have happened was, how every time Tamina kept verbally trashing her, I kept thinking what you could have done was eventually Lana has had enough of the verbal abuse. She just stands up for herself, turn her face, and then have her work with Tamina for a little program. And then that's a nice way to get her over at least. And then you build her up organically. I love her, but yeah. I thought Tamina coming over would have been beneficial for her because they were never doing much with her on Raw. And not really working out for her.
Not really at all, no. She can't really cut a promo too good. That one time they had all the women in the ring, and she literally said the exact same thing that Charlotte said. Right there, I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, it's not working.
Yeah. The Usos have also benefited hugely from the brand split. They ditched the face paint. They ditched the tricolor, the tie-dye shorts, and they just became themselves, and they've been killing it, man.
Oh yes, and you know, I have them down too on my list as well, because if they weren't under Ryan Ward's writing, they could still be in the same face characters they were. Which, not that there was anything wrong with them, like what they were doing, and they were doing great. It's just
after a while, man.
Right, they just needed something fresh to do, and I feel if Ryan Ward wasn't having any say over them, they probably could still be, you know, just where they are, where they were before. But now they're literally killing it. And, you know, they can take the tag champs anytime. Like, I'll be completely fine with them winning the titles if they keep doing what they're doing.
Because, honestly, it's just them and New Day as credible teams. I mean, yeah, you got Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. They've only had one match, but I'm sure they'll be a good team. But, yeah, man, we need some more depth in both tag team divisions.
Definitely, because they keep disappearing.
Yeah. All right. So just to wrap up my list real quick, Mike, because I only put down a few people. Two other people that haven't benefited from the brand split. First off, Apollo Crews, because he did nothing in the brand split. He went to SmackDown. I thought, okay, him with AJ, Cena, Ziggler. There's some good potential for him there. He's going to be on the show where he's going to be working with the good workhorses and everything. Other than a feud with Ziggler, he hasn't done anything notable, and it's such a shame because I love Apollo. He's a great talent, and they don't do anything with him. Yes, he's part of the Titus Worldwide brand, which could have been bigger. You know, they could have been like Ballers or something, winning titles left and right, but they just don't know how to book him properly on Raw. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't understand though. Like at first, like they're going like in like a heel direction for him, which I thought that could have been better for him because that's his biggest problem is that he's great. In the ring, it's just that he just has no character to him. I thought maybe turning him heel for a change would have, you know, helped him in some way, but they literally did nothing with him. Like he's someone I thought would really benefit from going to SmackDown. They gave him the Intercontinental title shot at SummerSlam last year, and then after that, he just got fed to Kurt Hawkins.
I thought he beat Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins beat him. His first win, I think, since returning was actually against Apollo, I think. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I thought that's what I remember. But yes,
I think he beat whatever. But yeah, Apollo Crews has definitely not benefited from the brand split or superstar shakeup. So I mean, he really does need to go back to NXT because he was only on NXT for like 7 months, I want to say, and I mean, on NXT he did more, but he hadn't even reached his peak or his prime because I remember, dude, he fought Finn Balor twice on NXT.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Once for the title, and then once in a rematch just to see if he could prove himself against Balor.
Yes.
You know, he won the Battle Royal to earn a shot at Balor. He did all those things on NXT, and then he comes up to the main roster, and he didn't do much. He didn't do anything to be honest.
Nope, not at all. He was brought up way too soon. He should have had a title run before he came up, honestly.
Yes, he should have. He should have. I totally agree. And then lastly is a guy that I don't understand why they can't book him properly or why he's so directionless. I think you know who I'm talking about, Mike. But last on my list, someone who didn't benefit from either split, draft, whatever you want to say, is Sami Zayn.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, personally, I thought he was booked better on Raw than he is now. Now he's just being fed to Aiden English left and right.
I never saw. I still, a year later, don't understand how Sami Zayn goes from having one of the most emphatic wins of his career, beating Kevin Owens at Battleground in one of the best matches of the year, to being reduced to the pre-show of SummerSlam the next month, and then not really doing anything notable. Shouldn't
And then
he?
Kevin Owens goes on to be the Universal Champion, and he doesn't have a great title run because he needs Jericho to help him in all of his matches.
Yeah. And then when Sammy got moved to SmackDown because of the Superstar Shakeup, I was like, oh, this is awesome because this is where they're going to really utilize him well. And to be fair, he was being booked fine in the beginning because he was feuding with Baron Corbin. He was in Money in the Bank. And then he faces Mike Kanellis, and that's where he's pretty much been stuck in pointless feuds. They're not doing anything.
He was feuding with someone who's directionless as well, Mike Kanellis. I mean, like, why are we supposed to hate these guys? Because they're him and Maria, because they're in love?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
If you really haven't given me any legit reason to hate him other than the fact that they were feuding over pretty much the fact that just because Sammy interrupted them and then Mike Kanellis smashes him in the head with a vase. That's pretty much the only reason why they were feuding.
I was just thinking about that. And I love how Maria was just like kneeling down towards him and talking about how that was brought by the power of love. Like,
my gosh.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think I read a report saying WWE's pretty much given up on trying to push him, unfortunately.
Sammy or Mike?
Mike.
Oh, yeah. It already seems like they already gave up on him.
He got beat by Bobby Roode. Yeah, but then I also heard, I think he's recovering from something.
Yeah, I forgot. I saw exactly what it was the other day. Alcohol, drugs, something.
Yeah, that's why he's in rehab. But I honestly thought Sami Zayn would have benefited from the Superstar shakeup. I know this is about the brand split 1 year later, but like,
right, yeah,
Sami Zayn has not benefited, and I feel so bad for him. And last night got me even more upset that he just lost the way he did to Aiden English.
He did, and I think he probably would have benefited if someone else was in charge of head writing and not who we got now.
Yes.
I mean, personally, I was actually surprised also when the draft first happened last year. We were and both him and Kevin Owens went to Raw. I thought they would both go their separate ways if they were going to end the feud at Battleground. But I remember I kept pushing, have this feud end at SummerSlam in an I Quit match. Like, that's a dream match I want to see between those two. And it would be an I Quit match, and whoever lost had to go to SmackDown. And if it was Sammy, sure, I'm sure he probably would have, gotten at least, a decent, mid-card run, even with the Intercontinental title or not. I mean, we got that great feud with Ziggler and The Miz last fall. And I mean,
Miz was another one who benefited well because of how they pushed him as Intercontinental Champion.
Talking smack as well was something that really elevated him.
Yeah. And Daniel Bryan brought it up last night.
Wait, what?
Daniel Bryan brought it up last night, remember?
He did, yes. When he was talking to Shane about how, he could have put his hands on Miz if he wanted to. Because, that I just watched something earlier today of about like 5 promos that actually did turn real. And like the Miz even admitted himself that he went a little overboard with that. But he's like, I didn't even think I didn't think that Bryan was actually going to get up and leave the room. Like Bryan could probably went off into that room and just cried because everything he said was just true. He just laid it into him that one promo. Miz was kind of some of the best promos of his career that I seriously thought that he could have been a good contender to be the world champion if he was still on SmackDown. But then he put him on Raw. They dragged out that feud with him and Ambrose, which when it was on SmackDown, it was good. But in this time around, it fell kind of flat.
Yeah, see, that's not overexposure, but that's just doing the same. I hate when they do the same match over and over again. After a while, like what they did with AJ and Kevin Owens.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, those are a few people, Michael, I feel like have benefited and haven't benefited in the case of some people from the brand split. I know I've been going on. I've been talking a lot.
Oh, no, dude, it's completely fine. Yeah, we've been going back and forth about it as well. Speaking of actually also the Miz, I don't know if you check this out on Raw also, but the Intercontinental title match between him and Jeff Hardy, that was another good match as well. If you didn't get to see that, I recommend checking that out as well.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I only when I heard Cena was gonna fight Jason Jordan, I was like, well, let me check this out to see how it goes. And I thought it was good, but I wanted to go a little longer. I wanted Jason Jordan to have a more of a stronger performance, but I wanted to see what happened with him and Roman afterwards. But like I said, I don't watch Raw because I just don't want to sit through 3 hours because we already do 3-hour pay-per-views, and then to do a 3-hour Raw is just, it feels like a chore.
Right.
Whereas SmackDown, even if it's a solid show, the 2 hours goes by, and you're like, hey, we're done.
Right. All right, so I guess I will, list off the names of people who I thought have benefited, and even some who haven't benefited from the draft or Superstar Shake as well. So on my list, I did have a few names like you had. I had Alexa Bliss, who she came from NXT. She was probably on the verge of being in the title picture down at NXT. But then she probably needed more on the main roster because they needed some depth in the women's division since they were splitting the women and the tag teams up and not keeping just one-on-one show and one on the other. But I think both her title reigns have been great. I mean, I know some people might think she's a complete cowardly heel, but I don't think she is. What I do like about her is that, she has her strength. She beat Sasha clean on Raw the other week, which I was still kind of surprised that happened, but I was all for it. But what I do like is that they do expose her for one weakness, and that's Nia Jax.
Yeah,
it's obvious that she's afraid of Nia Jax, but like if that's how it is, then that's fine. I just don't want to see every champion be just that cowardly champion that we're tired of seeing. Kevin Owens exposed that big time. I also have the Usos because I do feel if they weren't under Ryan Ward's reign, they would still be what they were before. Just the face paying high flyers, which again. They're cool, but they just need something fresh to do, and they've taken this heel character and they've really gone with it. We kind of talked about her when we talked about Nikki Bella, but we also talked about Natalya, because remember, like before the brand split, like Natalya, the fact that she did have that feud with Charlotte and then turned heel and had that feud with Becky Lynch at Battleground. Before that, like she wasn't doing too much. She was just like that one of the jobbing women that was like left out in the cold for what I thought. But putting her on SmackDown Live, turning her heel, like I pretty much consider her like the Chris Jericho of the women's division, because you bring her in, she's credible, she gets wins for herself when necessary, but she does a great job as well putting people over, and that's why I'm completely fine with her right now holding the belt on SmackDown Live, very well deserved.
Very well deserved, because I've always felt, Mike, that she's very underrated.
Yes.
That she's very underappreciated.
Yes.
So to see her win the SmackDown Women's Championship was I felt as a proud fan of Natalya's, I was really happy. That was one of few highlights for me at that dumpster fire that was SummerSlam.
Yes.
I was happy. Yeah. Yes. And I'm excited that she's gonna have a rematch with Naomi. And I like that it took about 2 weeks for the rematch to go down. They didn't do an immediate rematch right away, unlike with Lana, who got like 3 straight title shots and lost them all. And it seemed
was
like
the same thing.
No, yeah.
But it also has been 7 years since Natalya even won a championship. So her hard work has really paid off. Good for her. Too bad her husband couldn't be around any longer, because I definitely liked him as well.
Definitely.
And also shout out to Natalya as well. She liked my tweet last night. Thank you, Natty.
Who tweeted her?
Wait, what?
What'd you tweet her?
No, I just tweeted that her and Carmella had a good match, and I was interested in the tension burned up between Carmella and James Ellsworth, and she just liked the tweet because I tagged her in it. So I'm like,
oh my god, Ellsworth, that's another guy that actually benefited from this brand split.
Oh my goodness, they somehow made that work. It was interesting, and then like right around when it came around TLC, like I thought he was gonna be the guy that was gonna feed Dean Ambrose into his heel turn pretty much. And because when it's getting around to TLC, I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do with them? Because it's starting to get a little bit old. And then when I did not expect Ellsworth to be the one to turn heel, make him just that little delusional freak who just really thought that he was actually as good as people made it seem like he was, but he was just being used to just troll around AJ Styles with Dean Ambrose, and then he just got destroyed by Styles, because at that point, we wanted to see Styles just destroy him, and then they gave them something to do. Like I think the pairing of him and Carmella as well, and of course I love the kiss and slap last night. So it's like Ellsworth, has obviously been just trying to get that move on Carmella, and then finally he gets it, then he just gets slapped right back. I'm like, dang.
I like how they're making him that delusional kind of goof, because he probably be up here like, yeah, I benefited from SmackDown because that's the land of opportunity. Duh.
Duh.
Oh like, my shame. You don't need to remind us how Money in the Bank match works. Duh.
Oh man, but yes.
I mean, I know he did good things on the indies, the little that I know, but hey, they made him like a household name. He had his own T-shirt, you know.
Right. And it was
AJ
like
Styles for the championship. He beat AJ Styles 3 times. Like Dean Ambrose says, he's the guy with more wins over AJ Styles than John Cena.
yes, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh, that feud, that match as well. That triple threat between Cena, Ambrose, and Styles at No Mercy, especially the build up for that feud. I love that. I remember that one promo that there was a 3 of them face to face taking shots at each other. I will not forget. That was probably one of the first times. It was right before Ambrose beat Cena clean on SmackDown, and I just remember like, you know, Styles and Ambrose were going at it. Then Cena comes out and he just like got right into Ambrose's face like right away. Like it seemed a little more of like a heel move by Cena, because I'm like, whoa, like that's one thing that had me like, you know, my eyes weren't being taken off the TV.
Yeah, I thought we could get Ambrose real quick because I know you got more to say, Mike. I don't want to push back. I thought we were gonna get Cena and Ambrose at Survivor Series because of the fallout.
Yeah, me too.
No Mercy. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought again, like all at the end of like last year, I kept thinking, okay, because I kept making the excuse that Dean Ambrose shouldn't turn heel yet back then, because I felt that if he turned heel, there was no other really top baby face that could really fill his spot. Then they kept finding something for him to do. They had him feuding with, you know, Styles still till the end of the year, which that feud was good. It wasn't really the one of the best feuds in the whole year, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And then I thought that's going to be it then. And then they had him feuding with The Miz. And now since he's on Raw, though, he's in a better position. I think he'll probably turn heel on Seth Rollins, probably either by the end of the year or by Royal Rumble. Because once the Revival come back, I think they'll build them up. They'll take the tag titles off of Rollins and Ambrose. And that's when they'll turn heel. And then probably have like a roles reversed match at WrestleMania. But
just fists.
No flips, just fists. Say yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Oh yeah. But anyways, getting back to my list, the next person on my list, despite the fact he's in this really dreadful division, I gotta give some credit to Neville, because if it wasn't for the Cruiserweight division, he probably would still be nothing. They did nothing. I didn't understand why they put him on Raw at first until I heard the Cruiserweights coming, thinking, okay, maybe I'll put him in the Cruiserweight division. They didn't put him in there at first, and he was off TV for how long, until Roadblock, end of the line, where Dan literally did bring a sign that on one side it said, "Make Raw Great Again." The other side was, "Have you seen Neville?" Dude, I'm not even joking. I literally treated that match, that Cruiserweight match at Roadblock, as like an opportunity to go get a snack, because I was just starving. And I actually heard Neville's music hit, and I'm like trying to hurry up, like whoever was giving me my food. I'm like, dude, hurry, I gotta see what's going on here. And I came in and I just see a deranged Neville with that deranged look on his face up on the Titantron. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Neville benefited. He was in my opinion, he's the only cruiserweight that's benefited from that division because of how strong they booked him as a champion. He's the only one that's benefited. And it's a damn shame, because you have all these cruiserweights that were in the Cruiserweight Classic, yet you're not doing anything with them except for Neville.
You're just treating it like trash. And then two, they introduced 205 Live, which it's just not a necessary show. You know, why can't you do what you're doing on 205 Live on Raw? It just feels like, you know, it's just another recap show or whatnot, you know? Which is probably just the reason to try to get more viewership on the network, but it's not going to work if you're just making it complete trash. Yeah.
But yeah, Neville's definitely benefit from the Cruiserweight division on Raw, so.
Definitely. I also put down The Miz under Ryan Ward, because, you know, they really brought out, you know, the best in Miz's promos. Really made that Intercontinental title feel great. And even his feud with Ziggler as well. I remember when that feud started, I'm thinking, oh, I've seen this before. It's not really too fresh to me, but then just the promos they cut. And their best match to me by far was definitely that career versus title match at No Mercy. That should have main evented the show. That was
live, dude. I agree, because that crowd popped for Ziggler. They were so invested in him. I was there, man. That was an awesome moment.
Definitely, yeah. You definitely saw a great moment there, because literally all the odds were stacked up against Ziggler. You know, they had Maurice, who kept, helping out the Miz. They had the Spirit Squad, who briefly returned. They were helping him out, but they just threw it all to him. It was a shame that he dropped the title like right before Survivor Series, because I really wanted to see him and Sammy go at it. But yeah, the Miz definitely was another one. Next person on my list, despite the fact that lately his momentum has been slowed down, not as bad as I hoped, because what they're doing with him on SmackDown right now, I am okay. But someone who I still think would probably not have gotten anywhere without the brand split was Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Because
sorry. I was gonna put him on my list, but I'm not happy with the way his momentum's been going down recently, especially after losing Money in the Bank. So, but he definitely,
especially also how he just pretty much seemed like he just took the loss of his briefcase and just like pretty much just lets Cena just beat him, like not coming out there like beating the crap out of him to get revenge after what happened.
Could have done that,
but still, like, I personally feel that if it wasn't for the brand split, he still would not have, gotten the momentum and the moments that he did, because like when he was on Raw, when it was before the brand split, I mean, he had that long dragging feud with Ziggler. I mean, he was getting the wins, but it just felt like it was not doing anything for him. He wasn't in Money in the Bank. He had a couple of, odd and end matches here, but I felt like he probably would have been no better than like, Curtis Axel or Apollo Crews or any of them if we would have done the brand split. So, I mean, I know his momentum got put to a halt by Cena, but at least they're still trying to, put the mid-card title on him in the U.S. Championship. So we'll see where that goes. So at least they haven't completely given up on him quite yet. But I just want to see where they go with this U.S. title feud with him and Styles. And then another person on this list, who I'm actually a little bit surprised you didn't mention this person, because before the brand split, this guy was nothing, and now he's getting ready to go after the Universal Championship. Braun Strowman.
Hold on. Let me do this. Let me do this for all time's sake.
Do it. My goodness, did he come out of nowhere though? Because when he was with the Wyatt family, he just felt just a big man, just as stiff as a board. Wasn't really getting anywhere. They wanted to have him and Taker at first. I heard rumors about him and Taker at WrestleMania 32, and I'm like, I couldn't get behind this. But they got him away from the Wyatt family, put him on Raw, which at first I'm just like, well, that's strange. I wonder why they would do that. And then they literally, had him like just destroying jobbers and like him bringing out like more that he had in him, the new look, and he eventually got the feud with guys like Sami Zayn, and then he got to Roman Reigns, and at first him losing this at Fastlane, despite a good match, I was not happy that he lost clean to Reigns at Fastlane, but that was probably more so just to make Reigns look good going into his match against Taker at Mania. But then after Mania, my goodness, did they just go all out on him? He's not just like just a big man, just like, another how Big Show was, when he turned heel back in 2014, 2015, like just that flat. But he still was, destroying guys, like, having like great agility. He destroyed Roman Reigns like how many times, despite the fact that he had to run through an ambulance door to pretty much have Reigns take him down there. But still, he's just been on fire since being on Raw. Even when Raw was like at its lowest, he was still like one of the shining gems to be on Raw, and I am really looking forward to his match with Lesnar at No Mercy.
I want him to beat Brock Lesnar.
Me too, so bad.
I really got to give it to Raw for building this guy like a legit monster, the monster among men. Like, he's just been like, when he first started, he was just destroying jobbers left and right. Then they gave him Sami Zayn, and then after WrestleMania, he's just taking it to a whole nother level, and I'm loving it. I mean, he destroyed Brock. He threw the chair at Roman. And Joe. He hit a 2-for-1 at SummerSlam. It was just, man, they've done such a great job with Braun Strowman so far. I gotta give it to the Raw creative team for keeping their faith in this guy and turning him into. He's freaking over with the crowd. He's a face practically,
Pretty much. He survived an automobile crash because of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy. But two more people who I have on my list, people who have benefited, and then I'll just go quickly through the ones who haven't on my list before we move on to another topic. I have another tag team on this list. Now, despite the fact that I will admit recently, I feel like their stories have kind of dragged out a little bit too long. I just want them to get to the bottom of it. But I got to give a little bit of credit to Breezango because, they were just a jobber team. And then even though they kind of got lucky with them getting their tag title opportunity after the Superstar shakeup, they developed some type of niche with them doing the fashion file segments. And they found something that's just them. I mean, I know that recently their story is dragged on because it feels like the same thing. We're not getting anywhere else every week. It's probably going to lead to them having a match against Authors of Pain, as I'm thinking possibly. But
I like that idea. I like that idea from your match card. That would be a good conclusion to the whole case. That's perfect because they're the perfect team.
It would be definitely, but at least, I mean, again, they haven't gotten the titles yet. I know that things are dragged, but at least, you take Tyler, especially Tyler Breeze, who was an excellent mid-card wrestler on NXT. A match, I remember you mentioned it in your NXT Hidden Gems video. Him and Apollo Crews had a fantastic match. I remember the first takeover I watched, which was Unstoppable. Him and Finn Balor as well had a great number one contenders match, and then they brought him to the main roster and just pretty much just trashed. He went 0-49 or something like that for a while, and now they're finally actually finding something that's giving him some momentum. So I hope it does continue to help them. They eventually do get the SmackDown tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
And the last person who I have on my list as stars who have benefited from the brand split is Naomi, because she was kind of like Natalya. She was someone who was around, but they weren't doing much with her. Personally, I felt she should have won the Divas Championship back in 2015 when she turned heel, attacking Paige after that Battle Royal number one contenders match, which wrote Paige off the show for her to go film Santa's Little Helper. She should have won the title then, but instead, no, they just, had her lose to Nikki Bella. Then Tamina came back. They had that tag match at Payback, just a tag match just so Nikki Bella can lose, but not lose her championship. And then afterwards, they just went absolutely nowhere with her. I do like how they made her into the women's champion, leading. She got her championship at Elimination Chamber, and then she had to get relinquished it due to injury. And just to have a WrestleMania moment in Orlando. I mean, I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of that 6-pack challenge, but I mean, personally, I think there's only so many women in that match just to create that doubt that Naomi was going to be back. Yeah. So that moment was meant for her. I mean, despite the fact that she didn't defend her title every single pay-per-view, got thrown to that feud with Lana, I still felt that her championship run was definitely worth it for all the hard work she's paid off. So that's why she is also on my list of superstars who have benefited.
She definitely has benefited, because I remember back in 2014, I think, they were starting to build her toward a possible Divas title contention. And then if you remember, she faced Oksana, and Oksana dropped her knee on her eye socket and fractured it.
Oh yeah, she wore that weird looking little mask when it had that 14-woman match at WrestleMania 30 or something like that.
Yeah, the Guerrero Invitational. Oh my god.
Oh man.
I did not care for that match because that came right after Taker lost a streak. I was just shocked.
Yeah. If again, that main event though for that show, if that would not have happened, that would have been one of the saddest WrestleManias probably ever.
But like you said, Naomi got her opportunities on SmackDown. She brought out the glow, the Feel the Glow gimmick, which I like I said, I saw it live at No Mercy, and it's so colorful, dude. You got to see it to believe it in person. It's really colorful.
What makes it work though is because it's her though. It brings just Naomi Trinity Fatu herself out. Pretty much. Yeah. It's not just like something that they're trying to make her be. It's what she wants to be. The dancer, cheerleading style, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's what she is, and that's why that gimmick has been so successful with her.
And you know what? With the whole, what I see is if you ever want to turn her heel, she can be like that cocky, egotistical diva that's all about herself, comes out in the rich clothes and everything. You can do that because I see a little swagger in Naomi. Not saying she's gonna turn heel anytime soon, but I'm saying like let them, like with the Usos, how they brought out that day one-ish when they became heel. That's just themselves, you know, and the best heels are those who are themselves.
Exactly.
And remember, Naomi's come a long way since being a Funkadactyl.
Oh, don't remind me of those days, man. Brodus Clay.
And Nat Bloom was Tenside, Sweet Tea, remember?
Oh, man, don't remind me of those days. Don't remind me.
You know, hey, you can't get worse than Colonel Shawn Michaels.
No. We don't talk about that. Just like they don't talk about the old day. We don't talk about the Colonel Sanders and Shawn Michaels.
I love Shawn Michaels, and they have better paid him a lot of good money to do that. But I think that has to be like my pick for what the fuck decision of the year.
Yeah, pretty much. But I have a couple people on this list as well for those who are disappointed, and one of them was Apollo Crews. We talked about him. I also put, with excluding Neville, the entire 205 Live division.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I don't want to trash on all of them because I do like guys like, Cedric Alexander, Jack Gallagher. Who else is there really? I mean, like TJ Perkins, not TJP. I mean, I like them all, but it's like they're just not doing anything with them. Rich Swann also.
Rich Homie Swan.
Yes, Rich Homie Swan. But that's been a disappointment. Honestly, okay, they're going to bring in the Cruiserweights who just had a phenomenal tournament, and they're probably going to, just steal the show on Monday Night Raw, make that third hour mean something again. But instead, to me, it feels like the Divas division again, all over again. The Divas division from what we got before the women's title came back. That's all it pretty much feels like.
Yeah.
Which makes the third hour of Raw not always the best.
That's why I've said the Cruiserweight division should just be disbanded, because there's great talent that could be on either show, but the Cruiserweight division doesn't have that luster that it had 1 year ago.
Exactly.
Does not at all, yeah.
It's a shame.
It is a shame.
A couple of people I have on this list now. This person, well, they didn't get brought up at the draft. They came up like right after SummerSlam. Someone else who, despite the fact that she was champion, but they just booked her like crap, even though they still want to put her in the championship run. Bayley. What happened with Bayley? Like, we made her feel special and such on NXT. The story of her getting the title against Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I was there for that live. That match was just unbelievable. Just her whole run was unbelievable. They bring her up, and they just gave her, again, many problems, scripted promos, and it just made fans just look down on her. She got buried in that kendo stick on a pole match. Don't even get me started on the This Is Your Life Bayley, because I actually have never seen that segment to this day, and I never plan on watching it at all.
I haven't seen it. I never will. I will not.
It's a shame also because, she got injured, but she got booed. She got booed while she was, pretty much just doing that, her little announcement about her injury. She was booed. And I was just felt so bad because Bayley just does not deserve that at all because of the talent she is.
Whose fault is that?
Writers?
Yes, because the writers don't know how to book her properly. Like, that's my problem with just WWE in general, is that creative doesn't know how to book certain talent. And the fact that you've got Bayley, one of the most beloved women's stars in your company, and she's getting booed, especially when she got hurt.
Right.
You guys dropped the ball big time.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I understand they kind of make her as that, fangirl, soft-spoken woman pretty much character. Like, not like as, deadly as, someone, like Charlotte or Nia Jax or anything like that. But still, you're making her look like a complete joke. Like, telling those poems at the beginning of the year. What else is there? There was that whole thing with not making her look weak in that casting on a pole match. Like, she didn't even bother taking a swing at Alexa. The angriest I think I've ever remember seeing Bayley was in the build to her second match against Asuka down NXT. Like, it showed, like, even though Bayley's that, soft-spoken, meant to be nice woman character, she still was bringing out, like a little bit of a mean streak in her, because she's shown, she needs to be prepared more mentally if she wanted to beat Asuka. And that's what they need to do more on the main roster.
Like Bailey she is a reflection of herself. She's lovable. She's that girl next door. She's a fan. But like when she was feuding with Asuka, she had a lot to prove. So that's why we saw that aggressive side. And I feel like they needed that for the feud with Alexa Bliss, you know?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
But the last two people on this list, this first one, even though he's only been up recently, I'm definitely starting to worry. At first, I'm like, okay, don't worry yet. Maybe he'll do something. But Ty Dillinger, I thought he would be a great addition to SmackDown Live. You know, being a nice mid-card feud. I mean, I know they moved The Miz over to Raw, but The Miz was on SmackDown. I really thought a good feud between him and The Miz would have been good. But instead, he's been having just constant pre-show matches with Aiden English. I hated last week how in the United States Open Challenge match against AJ Styles, they made him look so weak and just bait to Baron Corbin. But I will give to them, despite the loss, I still enjoyed the match that he had last night with Corbin. They at least gave him time in the ring. They didn't make him look like a complete joke. And I look forward to him hopefully having a better match against Styles next week on SmackDown, hopefully, and at least give some momentum going. That was a good match, and actually, I would like to see a triple threat at Hell in a Cell, because that could be a good way to reestablish Ty, help rebuild him a little bit, and then if you still want to do Styles and Corbin. Does SmackDown get TLC this month or this year? No, I think Raw is getting TLC as their October pay-per-view. I think I've heard rumors that it's going to be Hell in a Cell, then TLC, then Survivor Series, and then Clash is being moved to December, and then probably Roadblock at the end of the month.
Who gets Clash?
Yes.
No, who gets Clash? SmackDown?
Clash? I'm not sure which one's getting what.
So wait, are they going back to doing 2 pay-per-views a month?
I have no idea. One month they're doing one, next month they're doing 2. It's who knows, you know?
Well, anyway, what I was thinking was, I'd like to see a triple threat between AJ, Corbin, and Ty. And then if you want to keep the AJ Corbin feud going, if they were getting TLC, I'd say do a ladder match for the United States Championship.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, but we'll see, because I'm a little concerned too with Ty Dillinger, because he didn't get much of a reaction last night too. Did you notice that when he came out?
The 10 chants are slowly dying down, I feel.
Yeah, but I'll be real with you, I don't like when they do the 10 chants when it's not a Ty Dillinger match.
Same, I don't like that either.
That's getting annoying, but still, he wasn't getting many chants, so I'm concerned about him too. So yeah, I'm a little concerned too.
And then the last person I have on my list for people who I thought it's a tag team, and I thought they would have really benefited from being on SmackDown.
Oh, I know it already.
Even though I think you probably tell us already. Even though if they didn't treat the SmackDown tag division as good as they are now, even though it's still not that great, I'm talking about American Alpha. My goodness, were they on fire their last year in NXT? Like they're one of the first tag teams that I remember really getting behind, besides Enzo and Cass, when I first started watching NXT. And they come to the main roster, and I thought they would slowly build them up. They gave them the tag titles in that Fatal 4-Way match on the last SmackDown of the year. Yeah. And then they just completely, barely used them at all. I really thought they were going to have like a more long-term feud in the fall with the Usos, even though they had that all right storyline going with them, Heath Slater and Rhino, with Heath Slater trying to get a job, and actually made me care about Heath Slater. Surprise, surprise.
He benefited from the brand split, because if he was on Raw, they wouldn't have done that with him.
Right? Yeah.
Now they're not doing much, but on SmackDown they made him an underdog, a legit credible underdog. So he's another one that benefited. Exactly. Rhino too. Who would have thought I'd say Rhino benefited from the brand split?
Right.
And I just remember seeing him eating crackers with Cheese Whiz, and I'm like, okay. But then when they actually got the job done in the ring, I was like, hey, I like this. I like this team.
Me too. But yeah, and then Jason Jordan just didn't live up to the hype of the big secret about Kurt Angle. But and now they're separated. Which, I mean, here's the thing, like Jordan is kind of similar with Apollo in some ways, in the fact that they both can wrestle, because the matches they've had Jordan in with Finn and Cena, those were decent matches. Like, the guy shows he can wrestle. He just does not have a character, and what he's presenting right now is just not staying well with the fans. And Gable as well. He had a couple of good matches with Rusev right before SummerSlam as well. But I'm very interested to see what they go with this tag team with him and Shelton Benjamin though. But yeah, definitely this them as a team was a huge disappointment because I really thought they would thrive from being on SmackDown.
I did too, and I just hate that when the NXT standouts come to the main roster, they're not booked properly. And it's such I can only imagine how frustrated Triple H is.
Oh, definitely. I don't blame him at all for being frustrated at all. It's just he makes these stars so great, then Vince takes them up and it's his hands and it's just his own playground, turning them what he sees them as.
You know what I'm gonna say? Triple H and William Regal make superstars. Vince takes
superstars and just completely trashes them.
Yep. It's a damn shame.
It is. So those are just the superstars that we thought benefited from the brand split. Robbie, on your list, is there anything? What else have you have on your list about the brand split? Is there like any like pros or cons that you'd like to share also from your list?
I don't really have many pros or cons. I mainly just made a list of like the wrestlers who benefited from the brand split and those who didn't benefit. I'll tell you this: like when I was watching SmackDown, months out into the brand split, I felt like SmackDown was a fresher product. I remember this one time John Cena came out and he was still wearing that beer logo inspired shirt with the black, the red, and the white. Yeah. And I remember seeing his hustle, loyalty, respect logo on the floor on the ramp, and it looked so colorful. And then everything on SmackDown that night looked so colorful. So I felt like SmackDown had a better presentation than Raw, because I feel like Raw when they do it in the arena, the lights are darker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mauro Ranallo was a big plus for SmackDown. His commentary was great.
Corey Graves on Raw.
Corey Graves on Raw did fine. I would have preferred Corey and Mauro on the same show, but I mean, Corey does what he can on Raw, and he's a great commentator. Don't get me wrong. What else did I like? I can't really think of any other pros and cons. I mean, a big pro is that thank God SmackDown didn't go 3 hours like there was that dreaded rumor.
Oh, I was worried about that. That definitely. I remember that one time on Talking Smack. I think Renee Young asked Daniel Bryan about that, and he's like, "No, not gonna happen. We're keeping SmackDown at 2 hours." You know what?
I think another pro for SmackDown was that it got Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, and I'm sure they like during Ryan Ward's time they threw in their own ideas, or they worked with Ryan on how to they gave in some of their insight as well. So I think that was a pro. Like I know I sound pro SmackDown guys, but the truth is like I didn't watch Raw for a lot of last year after the brand split because I just couldn't get into the product. SmackDown just gave me a product that I liked, that it had great characters, great storylines, rematches that mattered, matches in general that mattered. So that's why I have a lot of pros for SmackDown. I still think it's a solid product, and I still watch it because it's 2 hours, but it's not where it used to be. I remember going to No Mercy, being so excited because it was a SmackDown pay-per-view. I was excited to see everybody on that show because everything mattered. Even the Baron Corbin Jack Swagger match, I mean, it was mainly to build up Corbin, but I was excited to see everybody on that show. You know what I'm saying?
It was, yeah, definitely.
Their pay-per-views felt special.
It did, yeah. I mean, despite the fact that they brought back a lot of pay-per-views that had just names but not like any special matches, they were still put on great shows. Backlash was good. No Mercy, TLC was great. Even the Elimination Chamber was pretty solid.
Elimination Chamber, in my opinion, was SmackDown's best brand exclusive pay-per-view because I felt like there were tons of great matches, tons of really good to great matches on that card. I mean, a hidden gem. I think this will be a hidden gem in a few years. Orton and Harper.
Yes, that one definitely. Harper was almost in the main event WrestleMania. Now where is he now?
I know. You mentioned that in your why I stopped reviewing SmackDown Live video or why SmackDown Live is falling video.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, remember that contract signing between John Cena and AJ Styles where Daniel Bryan just left the ring and he let those people at it? SmackDown
Cena like went all out on Styles in that, I remember.
Yeah. I feel like SmackDown just made the show more about the talent than the authority figures. That's what I love about SmackDown. I mean, Daniel Bryan even said it, that AJ Styles versus John Cena, even though it was the one match from SmackDown and Raw completely dominated the Royal Rumble with pay-per-views, Cena and Styles was the match everyone wanted to see.
It was.
And that's because they built it properly. They made it felt like a big fight, you know?
Right. Speaking of which, we talked about the authority figures. A con that I actually had on my list, I wanted to discuss this with you, Robbie. Now, this may be me going a little outside the box since I probably haven't watched the product as long as you have. You were definitely around for more of the brand split. But at the beginning of the brand split, when they were really stressing, like developing, general managers, and it felt like, Raw was more of like the heel show. SmackDown was, the babyface underdog show. I don't know, did you at first get this sense of you kind of want to see some more competition between the brands? But to me personally, I feel we didn't really get it. And we did, only thing, the closest we came to was Survivor Series last year, where we had the three Raw versus SmackDown matches, which for the most part, they were good. They had some story in them regarding, wrestlers in the ring, their storylines. Like the women's match, I think was more so just Bayley proving to Charlotte she wasn't much of a joke. The tag team match, I felt like it was more so it came out looking like, that was a time where Sheamus and Cesaro were developing as a tag team. And then, the men's match just had a ton of stories, starting with, Braun Strowman, getting eliminated because of the distraction by James Ellsworth. And we had a brief Shield reunion with Dean Ambrose saying screw SmackDown and just join in with Rollins and Reigns to triple powerbomb and take out AJ Styles.
Yeah,
in the middle of the feud. And then
Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, how they were the survivors.
Yes. It meant some, but I don't know. It's I was kind of, and this is why also I'm still trying to feel that there's purposely still trying to make Robbie the standout show, because I personally felt that we were going to get some storylines involving competition between the brands, but we haven't really got any of that since. It's they just went their own ways, were their own shows, instead of saying, oh, you can make this storyline wise as to where we're not benefiting from this, and our ratings are down because of this, and it could have been a way to help write certain authority figures off of TV or something like that. I mean, that might be a little going a little bit outside the box, but it's just personally how I felt. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Were you expecting any competition between the brands at all besides we got Survivor Series?
Yeah, you know what? Because I remember when they did the inaugural brand split in 2002, where Eric Bischoff was running Raw and Stephanie McMahon was running SmackDown. Yeah, they were competing with each other. They were trying to get the other's best talent, and Raw invaded SmackDown at one point. SmackDown invaded Raw. So I didn't want to see some competition, because remember at SummerSlam, Kurt Angle and Daniel Bryan came face to face, and they were saying, "Oh, our brand's gonna put on the better matches and whatnot," and they were stealing each other's catchphrases.
Yes.
Okay, I would have liked to have seen more of that. It wasn't a big loss, but I hear what you're saying, and that's something I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of, because I did enjoy Survivor Series. I mainly enjoyed the 5-on-5 men's match for Ultimate, supremacy with the top Raw stars battling the top SmackDown stars. Although I really did also enjoy the ending of the tag team match between Cesaro and Sheamus and the Usos. I feel like they killed it in the final seconds, the final moments of that match.
Yes.
But my problem with that was I felt like Raw was getting the upper hand. I felt like they were booking SmackDown to look inferior until SmackDown won the main match, the main elimination match.
Right.
So that's one problem I had. And I still feel like Raw tries to sabotage SmackDown. So then Raw is the superior show. It's still something I believe in.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. It's just, it's like, if you're having a brand split, why not, put Raw back to 2 hours and make it like, decent competition instead of make it look like, like SmackDown is all like the good stars, and then Raw has all the weak guys who it's just like, like if you pick teams in like a football game, like, the one team's good, the other one's it's crushed. It's like, it's obvious that, you look at Raw and say they're the superior brand, and then you just, crap all over them.
Yeah.
But that was something I had on my list. There's a couple more things I have on my list here as well. We've already talked enough about, like, divisions, like, the women's division and the tag team division lacking depth since they split the divisions up. I don't know. It's like, the thing is also, it's that, well, the SmackDown women's division, I won't crap on them as much because they actually did do a good job building depth in that. Like, Raw has, like, the big names. Like, they had Charlotte, they have Bayley, they had Sasha, they still do. Nia Jax, they have all these names, and they're not giving anyone else opportunities except for just those few. I mean, I know last year, Summer Rae hasn't been around like over a year. Paige and her issues that's been going on outside WWE. I know that they had a couple people like them get like taken out of the hat or whatnot, but still, it's like they didn't do a good job like making us like finding something fresh in their division. And even the tag team divisions, with how like they're splitting up teams left and right, it just feels like that those two divisions especially just need to be put on one show and just have just one division for each of them. I don't know if that's how you feel or whatnot.
I think at this point you have, like, yeah, because I hate that all these tag teams are being split up. Enzo and Cass, I was not a fan of them splitting. Then American Alpha splits up, and then I started being concerned that Breezango was gonna break up at God, there was a paper, I forgot I think it was Battleground. They were supposed to crack the case.
Yes.
And I was afraid that they were going to split up because it was revealed one of them was behind the attack. Well, obviously it was, I thought it was Breezango who was going to be revealed, as the one that's been attacking Tyler Breeze. Luckily, they didn't split up. But, yeah, I feel like maybe you're going to have to reunite the entire tag team division and women's division in order to make them more relevant. Because, like, remember what we said in our Raw is Dead commentary? Like, who were the main women on Raw that were always getting title shots or who were always in the title picture,
Charlotte, Sasha, mainly since the draft. Bayley was inserted there here and there, and then Nia Jax. Now we're finally getting, well, Alexa Bliss came over. I mean, she was kind of a fresh face, but like she's been getting title opportunities, but she deserves them as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, they deserve them, but it's like they're not like making anybody else feel like they mean anything as well. Not Emma, not Mickie James.
Yeah, I'm happy Emma and Nia are getting a title shot at No Mercy. Emma, this has been long overdue for Emma, but before then, it was mainly just about oh my God, what's her name?
Charlotte, Sasha,
Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, and Alexa. No one else. Not even Alicia Fox.
Oh, don't get me started on her. I completely forgot about that one. Please don't get me started.
Her. She wasn't even being. And you know what? Where's Summer Rae?
Yeah, I knew she had like some nagging injuries last year, but why isn't she back yet? I kept hearing like months ago that she was close to returning. I mean, I know she really didn't get anywhere when she was around, but still, bring her back, see what they can do with her.
Yeah.
And then we don't know if Paige is ever going to come back or not, but we'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
We already covered the lacking. And then too many pay-per-views as well. I don't know how you feel about them having too many pay-per-views.
That was okay. That was a con for me because when they were doing 2 pay-per-views a month, like Dan and I said, it just doesn't give the shows enough time to build to the next pay-per-view. Because I remember in Survivor Series happening, and then 2 weeks later, it was going to be TLC. So I felt like SmackDown was getting the short end of the stick because they weren't getting enough time to properly build to their pay-per-views. What I think should happen is, as long as this brand split goes, just 1 pay-per-view a month. Or not, you don't always need to do pay-per-views a month. Like, I was thinking, what I hope Triple H does is, okay, you do the Royal Rumble, because that's an important pay-per-view. Then maybe you do in either February or March the go-home pay-per-view to WrestleMania, then do WrestleMania, then maybe wait a couple months for either Extreme Rules or Money in the Bank, so you have like off seasons or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now we're going as far as having Raw actually happening on Christmas, which is a shame because superstars should be with their families on Christmas. But that's just a shame. But I do agree, it's just too much. And if they have to have some story for one pay-per-view, it's going to take away from the next. That's why I let's go about NXT and like SmackDown was doing it under Ryan Ward's writing is it just felt like they're trying to go to the next level with every storyline every week, that it was affecting the inconsistency of all the next few episodes. Like they have nothing left for there. So like if you have all these like matches that are having for stories like three times a year in like 19 pay-per-views or whatnot, you cut them back. You can spread out the stories more and not have everything just feel dragged out or anything,
Yeah.
I got two more things here on my list here. The fact that there's a lot more titles now. Are you like what's your opinion on how haven't we have like 2 women's champions, 2 tag champions? What's your opinion on that, Robbie?
Okay, mine's kind of like a split. Okay, I kind of have a pro and a con for this.
Sure.
I'm happy that the divisions, that the brands got separate tag divisions, because then it allowed certain people, certain tag teams, and okay, let me start over. I am happy that both Raw and SmackDown got separate divisions because it allowed certain teams to have those big opportunities. The Usos, Beauty and the Man Beast on Raw, Cesaro and Sheamus, even though I was never a fan of that team because I thought Cesaro should have just been a main event player.
Right.
The same thing with the women's division. Becky Lynch got a well-deserved title run. Alexa Bliss got her title run. But then again, like if there was only one division on one show and the other division on another show, I'm afraid that those people wouldn't have gotten those opportunities.
Right.
So that's why it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, do I think the divisions should combine and just be on one division on one show, one division on another show? I think at this point, yes. But then again, I'm afraid that certain people that deserve opportunities aren't going to get them, and those that got opportunities may just get lost in the shuffle again.
Yeah, that's like it's going to feel like how it was before it even started. Like I agree completely. That's how it feels. It's just the other problem is I have having so many titles is the fact that like the big 4 pay-per-views, like WrestleMania, SummerSlam. Well, not as much the Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble is more so about just the Royal Rumble match itself. But that's the reason why I think some of these pay-per-views have gotten a lot more longer because there's a lot more titles to defend. It takes away from just the non-title feuds because just non-title feuds as well is going to help build up superstars. And you want to see them eventually, get these title opportunities. And if there's not as much room on the card for them because of all these titles, then they're not going to get that. And then there's pay-per-views like, the SmackDown tag titles weren't defended at WrestleMania. It's going to take away the prestige in those as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if, not every division should have had 2 titles. But then again, if there wasn't a women's title on SmackDown, it would have made the women on SmackDown look pointless. Like, why would you care about them? And same with, the tag team division as well. But again, also, you don't want to have one show be so biased towards women and biased towards tag teams or anything like that. But again, if you have them split up, though, it just shows that there's not enough of them just to split up and to make 2 divisions out of them,
Yeah. I mean, during the original brand split, there were times where certain titles weren't defended on either show, like when it was the big, 4 pay-per-views. But I do feel like not every title has to be defended. Excuse me. Not every title has to be defended on the big 4 pay-per-views, but you do want to make all your titles relevant. So I understand where you're coming from. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword when you look at it.
Right, exactly. And finally, the last thing I have on my list is let's talk about the ones who have returned for the brand split. Like certain superstars out, even if it wasn't like right when the brand split started. To me, there have been a few, only just a couple successful, but honestly, a lot of the returns we got for the superstar from the brand split, most of them were a little bit of a disappointment to me honestly. If you have any specific ones you'd like to name, Robbie.
Mickie James returning at the beginning of the year on SmackDown I loved it.
Me too.
That she was La Luchadora. And I know there were some people in the crowd who who didn't know who she was because she came in a long time ago. But like they used her so well for the time she was on SmackDown. And then I find out she went to Raw and she's not doing anything, which is my exact concern with this whole superstar shakeup. So Mickie SmackDown, she did fine. Mickie on Raw, not doing well.
Nope.
Like, hey, Mike, like Dean Ambrose. Nope.
Nope.
Rhino, the same as Mickie James, did fine on SmackDown because they put him in an investing storyline with Heath Slater to win the tag team titles and get Heath a job. Once they went to Raw, losing
Certified jobbers for life.
What's up?
Certified jobbers for life.
Yeah. Yep. Kurt Hawkins never benefited from.
Why did he come back?
Yeah. Why come back?
They made all of that hype for him. He was supposed to debut at No Mercy. Didn't he not show up at No Mercy or whatnot?
He just said something. I don't remember why he didn't debut at No Mercy, but he was at No Mercy. I just don't remember why he said
and then he's on a 100 loss streak. He can't even he can barely last in a match. He just gets.
I don't know why he came back. I don't care if they're offering him lots and lots of money. If you're not going to be treated right, you shouldn't go back to WWE.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Who else? Who else let me think? Hawkins, Mickie, Rhino. Who was the other one that was supposed to? Well, Shelton Benjamin was supposed to return after
last year.
He got hurt. Right.
Yeah.
Now he's back. He looked good in his first match back, and that's just the first match, of course, because we haven't. He and Chad Gable, we haven't seen what their they just started teaming up. So
right, yeah, but I do see good potential in this tag team, though, at least. So he's a positive for me.
Jinder Mahal. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Jinder Mahal. Oh my gosh, where do we even get started with him?
I honestly still can't believe he's the WWE champion months later.
Same. I didn't think it was going to last this long.
I honestly don't like the fact he beat Nakamura. I was watching him last night on SmackDown, and I said, as much as I like Jinder, because I think he's a good worker, he's got to drop that belt now. I don't really see him going on as champion much longer.
He does. I keep saying this too. It's like, I know they're trying to build a new star, and like in reality is, even though he can't win clean by himself pretty much, he always needs the Singh brothers' help, but it makes sense for him though, because if he wasn't winning before, he's winning now because he has, a stable with him. But still, to me personally, they just haven't done enough for me to want me to see him be in the main event scene. Like if he was in a mid-card title run, I'd be fine with it. But just rushing the main event scene, it's not working. He was barely used on Raw at all when he came back. He was pretty much just on the same level as Kurt Hawkins. Why bring him back? He wasn't successful his first time around. And then now they move him over to SmackDown Live. And it just made me mad also because there's other guys that who are in this position, Apollo Crews, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, several other ones who I want to see champion. You couldn't put any of them on SmackDown, put them in this position. You have to do it to Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, I mean, I give WWE kudos for actually doing something unexpected and trying to make a new star with Jinder Mahal. But at this point, I think he needs to drop the title. He had a good title. I thought he had a good title reign for what it was, because they weren't booking him like a traditional chicken shit heel, and the crowd was clearly against him. Isn't that what you want? You want the heels to be booed?
Exactly.
But honestly, I don't see why. I can't see him closing the year as WWE champion. I think it's time for him to drop that belt, and they start using him as a mid-card champion, like going after AJ Styles towards the end of the year.
Exactly. That's what they can do. And also the fact also too, if you didn't notice in my match card, I did not predict him and Nakamura to be inside a Hell in a Cell, because personally, despite the fact that, you know, the Singh brothers keep getting involved in his matches, I just can't see any of his feuds getting like that worthy of being inside Hell in a Cell or anything like that.
And I like that. That is not a match that warrants Hell in a Cell. I like the idea for if Mahal gets disqualified or counted out, he loses the championship. I wouldn't mind if the stipulation is if the Singh brothers get involved, if they're even at ring, they even try to make it to ringside, Mahal will lose the title to Shinsuke. I like that, because the real match that warrants Hell in a Cell, based on what happened last night and based on what this guy says he's going to do in the future, is Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon.
Exactly. That's more worthy of it. This just isn't. It's not, like, you know, appealing to me. You know, that's no reason too, like, why, you know, you can't have pay-per-views that have match stipulation names to it, because, you know, that can't be the only time of the year we're going to be seeing Hell in a Cell or tables, ladders, and chairs, or, you know, Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Dan and I did a video last year talking about if the Hell in a Cell match lost its luster, and we feel like it has, because you have a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell, and you're having 2 to 3 Hell in a Cell matches. It doesn't feel special. When Hell in a Cell happened, it didn't happen at a pay-per-view. It happened, or didn't happen at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It happened at those special pay-per-views, and they were to culminate a feud. You know, it was the matches that felt that needed Hell in a Cell to ultimately settle feuds and rivalries and whatnot. It's like Paul Heyman said, if Christmas happened every day for 365 days a year, it wouldn't feel special.
It wouldn't.
No, that's why having, you know, last year they did 3 Hell in a Cell matches. The only
that was too much.
Warranted Hell in a Cell was Sasha Banks and Charlotte.
Indeed, I agree.
Not Roman Reigns and Rusev, even though built to it properly, it would. And not Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, because they only had 1 match.
Right. I mean, that match though between them and Hell in a Cell, I thought was good, Rollins and Owens. But again, it just didn't feel like it was worthy of being inside Hell in a Cell.
Yes, because when Hell in a Cell matches happened, it had that special feel to it, because you knew something was going to go down. Just look at the matches in the past: Taker and Shawn, Taker and Foley, Edge and Undertaker, the 6-man Hell in a Cell from Armageddon 2000. Every time a Hell in a Cell match happened, it was special because it had something behind it.
Exactly. That's exactly how it should be.
That's why the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view needs to be dropped and replaced with like Unforgiven or No Mercy or No Way Out. And so does TLC. Right. Because when I think TLC, I think those classic matches with the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian, because you knew they were going to do something special. Right.
Do you got any other names under return you'd like to talk about, Robbie?
Nope. I mean, Drew McIntyre on NXT, if we can include him, he's been killing it on NXT.
He has, yeah.
He's done a lot better than I expected he was going to do within that short amount of time since returning.
Right. And I'm glad he's also as a champion as well. I mean, I know personally, I felt like, you know, him and Bobby Roode had like a okay story, wasn't the strongest, but it's still good for what it was. And I definitely do think he deserves it as well, being champion.
Yeah, wait till him and Roderick Strong have a program for the NXT Championship, and then wait till we get McIntyre and Adam Cole.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
That's ROH takeover, man.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, and there's tons of things you can do with McIntyre versus Cole and Red Dragon. You know, because I remember saying to myself, what happened to when 6-man tag team matches used to be special attraction matches on pay-per-views?
Right, and now they're just like, you know, constant filler matches on Raw.
Yeah. you know what you can do, and this is because you did that special unboxing, if you know what I'm talking about, recently on your channel.
Yes.
Drew McIntyre, Aleister Black, and maybe Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole and Red Dragon at like TakeOver Houston,
Sure.
and then at the TakeOver before Mania, so TakeOver New Orleans, McIntyre and Cole, and Red Dragon,
sure.
the tag team champions are.
Sure, I would be completely cool with that as well. Even if it's like, you know, Sandy still a tag champions, or I mean, really, who else is going to be tag champions? I mean, if TM61 came back, they should be back soon. Who else is there? Heavy Machinery still on their way up. They're almost there.
I'm sorry for whoever is on the receiving end of that move where one guy picks you up, the other guy jumps onto the other guy and squashes you.
Yeah.
They're a cool team. I like Heavy Machinery, but every time I see that move, I feel sorry for the guy that's getting squashed.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're good. I mean, they still have like a little more seasoning to do before I think that they're getting right. That's why I know a lot of people were disappointed with their match with AOP a couple months ago. But to me, that's just like, you know, it's one of those, you know, table setting matches. Like you're setting up like better things yet to come for this team.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I want to see more often with some of the younger talent on the main roster. I want to see them have that match where you know they're not going to win, but they have that showing where you say to yourself, hey, this guy lost, but he's coming out with a strong effort, and I see big things in his future. Like we said with Becky Lynch, remember, against Sasha Banks?
Yes. And like waiting for that match, like, you know, for Ty Dillinger to have as well on the main roster as well. You know, I said all. I know wins and losses do matter, but there's some wrestlers that even though I know like one of them has to lose, I still feel like, you know, one of them needs to come out. They need to come out still, you know, looking like, hey, they had a chance to win. They're not just some complete joke, and people are not going to want to, you know, invest in them anymore. You know?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, McIntyre, even though he came back like in April, even though he's not part of the brand split, but I mean, he's done really well for himself in just 4 months since returning to NXT, and I'm happy to see him do what he's doing. And this thing between him and Cole, you know it's going to lead to something big.
Oh yes, I know this is not going to disappoint.
You know what they can do, because Roderick Strong is a Ring of Honor alumnus. They could have Roddy turn on McIntyre, and then you got a strong 4-man stable like Evolution.
Yes, sure. I could be that's money right there, man. I'm completely all for that.
They have a better idea of what to do with their talent and how to play out their storylines than on the main roster.
Because who's in charge of NXT?
The game. He's gonna beat the game in the middle of the ring. No, but that's what I love about NXT is Triple H is making everybody matter. He's building the future.
Like, even whenever another thing about the brand split, it did take away a lot of talent from NXT at once as well. So NXT went through a little bit of a rebuilding stage, but even during that time, they were still like, they weren't as strong as, you know, they were before and as they are now, but they were still great to watch. They still put on good shows and enhanced talent, made it feel like that this guy is going to mean something someday, you know?
Yep.
Oh boy. But
well, you know what? A couple other names. One name that I think has also done well since the brand split is Carmella. Because I was a little concerned for her. I thought she was coming up too early to the main roster, and they've put her with the right people to get her over as a heel. So she's been doing good things, and she is Miss Money in the Bank. And so she's definitely going well. Now, one dude that isn't doing so well, and Dan kind of called this a few months back, is Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, he was one that I was a little like whenever I came up, I wasn't like, oh yeah, it's Mojo. Like, what? Really? They bring up Mojo? I mean, I know that they wanted to probably bring him up more so to have him and Ryder, you know,
Hype Bros,
Hype Bros on the main roster, but I just didn't think Mojo was ready for the main roster. I felt like they brought him up too soon as well.
Where he was very passionate, and he talked about how when Zack Ryder got hurt, he wants to do things with Zack, but he's also ready to take whatever opportunities he's presented with moving forward. I like that.
Yes.
And then what happened?
He pretty much he wanted Andre the Giant, but he was just it just felt like a moment just to get like Rob Gronkowski
Yeah.
into the match. Like that just didn't
That's
like
what
killed.
Jinder should have won. That's what Jinder should have won. This is nothing against Mojo because I like his character. I like his passion. But
Right.
I think Jinder should have won the money, not the Money in the Bank, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Really?
Yeah, I think Jinder should have won it. If he was going to end up being the champion, Jinder should have won it because they're not doing anything with Mojo. When was the last time Mojo was on the show?
I'm trying to think. Recent memory, maybe that one Fashion File segment when they were being confronted about being possible suspects for trash in the office. That's the last time I remember seeing them.
Yep, that was the last time too. And before that, Mojo had a match with Jinder. When Jinder was...
Yeah, and there was also that moment they were in the Independence Day Battle Royal wherever Mojo eliminated Zach. And that's where I started worrying, oh, they're going to split up the Hype Brothers already, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's more tag teams split up, but they didn't do that. I mean, they were a team that I know a lot of people aren't really big fans of them. Like, I understand why. I thought they were that team that they were close to being ready to, be in the big picture, but I think that they were ready quite yet, if you know what I mean.
No, I understand. Yeah, like and then what was I gonna say? Oh, and then like that segment where Mojo's telling the Andre story to the kids, like
that was creepy.
Yeah,
that just came across as looking awkward to me. Honestly, that was something else also that kind of killed my momentum for him. It's like I like Mojo, but I just don't think I can't take him seriously if I'm not going to do anything with him.
Yeah. So. I like Mojo. He's not a bad guy, but I don't think he's benefited from the brand split. And I thought he could have been a good mid-card talent. Carmella, I do feel has benefited from the brand split. And, I mean, she's missed Money in the Bank, and I think it's only a matter of time before she cashes in and actually wins. I can't really think of anyone else that's really benefited from the brand split. I was going to say Seth Rollins didn't really benefit from the brand split because while he's a good face, he wasn't the face that we really wanted going up against like against Triple H. Triple H brought out the best in him as a babyface, but I don't know. I feel like Seth didn't really do much on Raw. I don't know. Would you say he didn't benefit, or would you say he was just okay?
I'd say at first, because they were kind of dragging along the storyline with Triple H, we were more invested to see what would go on between him and Triple H, which I was surprised, they didn't bring him around more to, keep his alliance with Kevin Owens pretty much as it was forming at the Fatal 4-Way last year. Yeah. But then he didn't go away. I mean, when Triple H did finally return and explain his actions, he did bring up, how, he was trying to, put it off to the side and just move on and just go and be the creator, not just come out here and be the destroyer he was trying not to be. So it made sense, but it did kind of hurt Seth because that's what people wanted to see more. And instead, they just kept putting him in matches with Kevin Owens. Yeah, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. But I think
you get my name wrong, Mike. This isn't the Club of the Man show. This is the Kevin Owens show.
Man, but at least he's getting back on track as well, Kevin Owens. Yeah. And they're finally giving Rollins a director too. With Triple H he did. And then afterwards his feud with Joe wasn't too bad. His feud with Wyatt wasn't really,
that was just random.
It was random, nothing special. But I mean, Rollins didn't really have much to lose, so I mean, at least it gave Bray a couple wins, even though it may not get him anywhere at all. But I'd say he's done all right. I'd say not terrible, not great, but he's done all right. I'd say
he would have done better if Triple H kept showing up, not every week, but if he kept showing up throughout the remainder of 2016, like what was going on with him and Daniel Bryan. So there was more fuel added to their fire. But when Seth came out at TakeOver and tried to hijack the show, that's when he started to gain his momentum. That's when it really took off.
Definitely, yeah. Then or whenever he lost to Sami Zayn to lose his spot in the Rumble, like one of those two. That's when like you really started to feel the baby face Seth Rollins.
He should have come out and in the Rumble match and cost somebody the match. Or well, it wasn't really anybody. He should have tried to get involved in the Universal Title match just to get back at Kevin Owens because he knew Kevin Owens was Triple H's golden boy.
Right. Exactly.
Seth did all right. He's doing better now because I like that there's the program with him and Dean Ambrose, which I hope leads to Ambrose turning heel and Rollins going face against him at Mania. So,
it should, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of anybody else that benefited or didn't benefit well from.
Right. So I'm going to just go through. Last thing I want to do is I want to go through my list of the returns as well. I have on here, and unfortunately, I don't have too many successful ones. The only ones I have down as successful for sure was Shelton Benjamin, even though he's only returned recently, but I like what they're doing with him so far.
Yeah,
and the Hardy Boys as well. Their return at WrestleMania. I mean, I know it wasn't really much because of the brand split per se. But they definitely lit a fire back into the Raw tag team division that was starting to feel a little bit flat because the build to that ladder match at Mania was all right, but again they weren't Sheamus and Cesaro felt like they were just another team just hanging around at the time. Enzo and Cass weren't really booked the way they were. The Club was probably the weakest tag champs I've seen to date. But they lit a fire back in the division. I mean, even though they're not doing as much with them right now, they're still, out there at least, entertaining us pretty well. So I got to get them under successful returns. Disappointing returns, there was quite a few of them, I'd say. I really thought we were going to get like a lot of great returns through this brand split, but most of them have ceased to disappoint. We already talked about, Jinder Mahal, Kurt Hawkins. We somewhat talked about Mike and Maria Kanellis, like they've gone nowhere as well. And maybe that they should have started back in NXT instead of coming right up to the main roster.
Yeah, I didn't mention Mike and Maria because Mike never wrestled for WWE. Maria, yes, but like when I made this list, I was mainly focusing on the brands, but I didn't know if we were also going to talk to Superstar Shakeup.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fine as well. But yeah, definitely them as well. The biggest disappointment to me, honestly, was definitely probably Mickie James because, again, being a little bit like a late bloomer WWE fan, I really wanted to see, them bring back like, that Psycho Mickie that we had back, which she feuded with Trish and whatnot. I thought that's what we were going to get when they brought her back as a heel. Like she had a really good match against Asuka at TakeOver Toronto. And I like the pairing with her and Alexa Bliss. But in my honest opinion, another reason why Mickie kind of fell off a little bit is because I just felt that they rushed that alliance too quickly and they broke them off like pretty quickly as well. Like I thought that if they were going to do this multiple women match at WrestleMania, at least like, have them both in the match, but don't like have too much tension between them yet. And then it came to a point where like, oh, they are serious. They really are, splitting them up. I felt that maybe having her and Alexa still together for a little while longer could have helped her benefit more. I liked her feud with Becky Lynch, but like we said earlier about, I forgot who we were talking about. We were talking about, like some feuds like being more so where it's like it's their first one back, but you're not trying to like blow them out of the water with what they can do right away. More of like, just setting the table of like, what's yet to come. That's how I felt about Mickie James and Becky, because I'm like, oh, I want to see Mickie feud with like, like Sasha or Bayley or Charlotte or whatnot. And they put her on Raw and they took a 6-time women's champion and now she's just a complete joke as well. Like she was probably the biggest disappointment, I'd say, out of all the returns we got.
Yeah.
We talked about Rhino as well. They brought him back. They put him with Heath Slater. They became a tag team, and he helped Heath Slater get a job on SmackDown Live. They had a good run. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that long of a run, but while it lasted, it was good. And then they put him on Raw, and they're pretty much back to being what Heath Slater was before, just another jobber. And now Rhino's barely being used as well.
Yeah.
And then one more. I know they probably returned like shortly before I think the draft last year, and then they were on Raw, and then they were, didn't care for them then. And I started to care a little bit when it got moved over to SmackDown in the Superstar Shakeup. I think one of them either got injured or there has been heathen possibly leaving as well. The Colognes as well. I remember when they were Los Matadores, and I was actually just watching the first year in review awards video I did with Dan. We did with one other friend was on there. It was from 2 years ago. I remember he voted Los Matadores as the worst tag team of the year that year. And I remember hearing, I can't remember if it was him or Dan saying, just make them Epico and Primo again. They'll be just fine. They bring them back as just Epico and Primo. They're just trash. Come to Puerto Rico. But then they put them on SmackDown. They kind of brought a little more of like a more aggressive side in them. And I thought, okay, maybe they actually tried doing something with them. And then I don't know if Primo got hurt. I thought I heard, but then I heard rumors of them possibly, being on their way out the door. But to me, they have been another disappointment as well in returns. So, I mean, if I can say a con for the brand split, possibly the returns might have to be under cons because most people that return just ended up not really helping out at all,
Yeah, I hear you. When Primo and Epico went to SmackDown and they dropped the Shining Stars gimmick, I was like, okay, this could be a chance for them to be reestablished and everything. Maybe we'll get Carlito. Nope, didn't happen. I don't even remember what they did on SmackDown, other than maybe feud with the New Day for one match.
And American Alpha also, because they debuted on SmackDown by attacking Alpha, I remember.
That's true. Okay, yeah. See, I didn't even remember that, which is unfortunate because they're not being relevant. So
right. All right. Well, is there any other topics you want to bring up, Rob? Because that actually cleans out my list here.
Not really. I mean, we talked about who benefited, who didn't. We talked about other pros and cons. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, Kevin Owens didn't really benefit from going to Raw because of how he was booked, but he's doing better on SmackDown.
I agree.
Cesaro, as much as I wanted to see him on SmackDown, he's managed to make that team with him and Sheamus click. I just want Sasha Banks to go to SmackDown where they'll give her at least 2-3 months as a champion. I'm so sick and tired of her losing the title within a month or so. Like, I'm so sick of how they treat her on Raw. It's not even
it would be better for her. I mean, I know that I kept feeling they would probably keep her on Raw just so, she would turn heel and they'd have that big money match with her and Bayley. But with how they keep taking the title off of her after like not long at all, I think it might be better off for her to go to SmackDown, get fresh opponents, even though I thought that was going to be the case with Alexa Bliss. Yeah. But they still did the same thing. I mean, they brought the point that, hey, Sasha may have finally won on pay-per-view, but she still has never been able to defend her title. And it's been unfortunate. I don't know what
it's going to take for Sasha Banks to go to SmackDown. Will they treat her better? But I think SmackDown, you know what? I like Tamina, but send Tamina to Raw and send Sasha to SmackDown.
Right. And actually, that's another thing too, a pro I've liked about, I mean, it's not really a pro, but something that I actually did like when I did do the first draft was, to me, it felt like that they did put a lot of superstars who, like, I wouldn't say aren't really needed anymore, like, Big Show or Mark Henry or like a couple other ones who like wouldn't get in the way of like some of these other talents I wanted to go to SmackDown that benefit, but they put them on Raw to pretty much, get them out of the way and only like be around when needed. Because, Big Show, to me, he's done a good job putting over Braun Strowman in the matches they had. I was disappointed, definitely, because I really was hoping he could do the same thing with Big Cass, but that didn't happen. But I was glad they didn't put like him or like Mark Henry on SmackDown. I mean, they did put Kane on SmackDown, but Kane's now focused on running for mayor in Knoxville, Tennessee, so at least he's not around as much anymore.
Big red candidate.
The big red candidate. Oh boy.
Well, hey, at least what they did with Kane, he didn't get in the way of any young superstars. When Randy Orton turned on him and joined the Wyatt family, I totally did not see that coming.
Honestly, I didn't either, no.
So that's what I liked. At least Kane was there just to help out with what needed to be done with the Wyatt family and the transformation for Randy Orton. So Kane did his thing. But is he officially retired now?
I don't think so. No, he's still listed under the SmackDown roster. So I don't know if like he's just more focusing on his campaign right now. And then if he gets in, then maybe he'll be done. And if he doesn't get in as mayor, maybe he'll come back. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the how some of these guys 2015 Royal Rumble, that Kane and Big Show were big shots because they were two of the last 4 people left in the Rumble. If you didn't forget about that right now, but
they were destroying the young talent: Ambrose, Cesaro, Ziggler, Ryback, just so it could get down to them and Roman Reigns.
And to turn the Royal Rumble into just another segment, another boring segment on Raw, pretty much.
Yeah, that was. I was losing a lot of interest in that match when it got down to those 2 guys because watching them turn on each other and then Roman dumps them out. I was like, whatever.
Right. What I remember the biggest moment that killed my momentum for that match. I remember because what made me even more mad too is at the time I didn't have the network, and the only way I could watch pay-per-views was either if I bought them or if I watched it at Dan's. And we had like a really bad snowstorm that night that I was debating about maybe not going over, but I really didn't want to miss the Rumble. And I remember I had all the momentum going, and then all of our momentum was there until Bryan got eliminated. As soon as Bryan got eliminated, the room just went quiet, and we were just pissed off the rest of the night. And I had to drive home in like 6 inches of snow that night.
Oh, what a horrible night for the Rumble.
Yes.
Remember that was when the canceled WWE Network hashtag started trending?
Yes.
Oh,
I really didn't know how they were going to dig themselves out of that hole.
What's up?
I didn't know how they were going to dig themselves out of that hole after that, because they really just like I kept saying, they made nobody else look good in that Rumble. Like, it was predictable. You knew Reigns was going to win, but everybody else was just complete garbage getting dumped by Kane and Big Show.
Yeah, and Roman didn't even look that strong in the match compared to the year prior to when he was eliminating like 12 guys.
12 superstars, yeah. Because I was there that night. That's when it was in Pittsburgh. We wanted him to win that when it came down to him and Batista.
Yeah.
And then, but at least that worked out.
Yeah.
But
well, you know what? I just thought of another name that didn't benefit from the brand split, and that's Kalisto. Because I love Kalisto. Him too. And I know when he got drafted to SmackDown, everybody was like, oh, why is he not on Raw? The Cruiserweights are going to be on Raw. I was like, hey, I'm happy because I don't think Kalisto really needs the Cruiserweight division. I can see him as an Intercontinental Champion or a Tag Team Champion. They didn't do anything with him except the Baron Corbin feud, which was a good, culminating in a good chairs match.
Yes, that chairs match. Like, I usually don't look forward to chairs matches because those usually aren't really anything spectacular. But my goodness, did they really have a good match? Like, it was almost the match of the night I felt for that pay-per-view.
That was a good match, and I just wish Kalisto would have done better. Well, have you seen that infamous promo where he botched the whole thing?
Oh, Lucha things.
Yeah. He messed up, but I really thought on SmackDown they would have done some good things with him, and they didn't. And then they sent him to then they finally sent him to the Cruiserweight division, and they put him in a dumpster match with Braun Strowman. Remember that, how that played out?
Oh, and he didn't even shut it, but Braun just getting knocked in caused him to lose. That didn't make any sense at all whatsoever.
That was just WWE changing the rules again.
Right, as they do all the time.
Yeah. That was, oh man. I'm happy Braun's done better since then, but I mean, I was not happy for that, and I was just not happy that Kalisto is not getting he's not being booked properly, and I hate it. Again, they don't know what to do with the young talent. You could have new stars on your hand, and you're not using them wisely. So
exactly. Heck, at this point, don't even bother put him in the Cruiserweight division. He's just going to look like even more garbage.
I know.
It's a shame.
I think maybe he should go back to the Indies.
Maybe, or Lucha Underground, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, put him on Lucha Underground as Samurai del Sol or Samurai del Rey, whatever his name was in the Indies. He'll kill Rey Mysterio Jr. and those other luchadores there.
Yes, exactly.
I got to make that video. I need to make a video of guys who I think need to leave WWE and go on to do bigger things in the Indies.
Go for it.
Yeah. I need to do that video because I'm really sick and tired of seeing some of my favorite stars not get the proper pushes and build they deserve,
Right.
I don't like Big Cass as a heel. I don't like Enzo in the cruiserweight division. I don't like other cruiserweights not being booked properly. I don't like Kalisto not getting booked properly. I don't like Sasha Banks not getting a respectable women's title reign. I don't like. There's a lot of things I don't like. So
there's actually one more name I thought of as well. What about Rusev?
Oh, he's not. He hasn't done well either, and he was doing so fine after breaking away from League of Nations and being the United States champion, and then
he was getting right back on track.
Yeah, he was back on track, and then of course, who did he come up against?
Roman Reigns. Which, why did that feud even have to happen? They started feuding after Reigns knocked Lana into their wedding cake.
It started originally when Rusev or Roman came out to confront Rusev.
Right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that segment.
And then Rusev got upset that Roman knocked Lana into the cake.
Yeah, that's pretty much how they end up fighting over. And then they had the match they're supposed to have at SummerSlam, the Raw before. I mean, I don't know if it was intended because I guess that was just a way to write off Rusev since he was going on his honeymoon, but still, you don't do that at SummerSlam. If you wanted to write him off the show, do it the next night on Raw. Don't do it at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And he got fed the Roman, and then he feuded with Big Cass, and then he formed that stupid team with Jinder that lasted like a month before they just broke up for no reason and just,
Those guys had 2 horrible impromptu matches at Fastlane, remember?
Yeah, why was that? And then he got injured, and I thought him moving over to SmackDown as Superstar Shake would have been great. What do? You bring... Well, first off, what's pissed me off, and I've ranted about this several times in my reviews, is that he was supposed to... He said he was not going to come back unless they gave him a championship match against Randy Orton at Money in the Bank. And he said he's going to show up on Raw on SmackDown the next week, and the man answers Shane McMahon. He doesn't show up, but he still shows up on the 4th of July. It's like, why are you here? You didn't get that title match,
What I read about that, Mike, because I know you ranted about this before. You talked about it Sunday during your SmackDown Live video.
Yeah.
Was the reason they dropped it was because of the plans to give Jinder the championship. They didn't know how to insert Rusev into that title picture because Rusev's clearly a heel, Mahal's clearly a heel, and Orton is a face. So they didn't know how to insert him. Well, why not just have Rusev come out, beat them both up, and say, I want my title shot. And then do a triple threat at Money in the Bank.
Exactly. Or even, I don't know how you feel about a face Rusev, but if you turn him face, because the crowd's actually going to cheer for Rusev because they actually want to succeed him, but,
Face Rusev could have worked. I mean, they haven't tried that. Why not try it? They haven't tried it with Bray Wyatt yet, and I still think he needs it.
Personally, I think they could have gone through the face Bray Wyatt if he didn't get hurt right after WrestleMania 32. Because remember, they were supposed to feud with the League of Nations. And that night where Bray and Roman actually teamed up against the League of Nations, my goodness, did he get a huge pop that night. But then Bray got hurt. They brought him back as a heel. They feud with the New Day, which, that was good. But then after that, the stuff with him and Orton started up. And,
that was a good feud. And I really thought the New Day would have dropped the belts to the Wyatt family at SummerSlam because of what happened.
Right. But
so I did like that. I did like that feud. But I think Bray Wyatt is way overdue for a babyface turn.
Definitely, yes.
And Rusev is just not benefiting at all. That 10-second loss, I don't like that one bit.
Oh.
That's where I said fuck this show, and I stopped watching SummerSlam.
Dude, I don't even blame you at all. I mean, although the thing that kept me going was that thinking, okay, at least the stuff that I'm looking forward to is still coming up. Like they got the worst out of the way with. Like that's why I didn't enjoy the first hour. Like everything from I did enjoy Naomi and Natalya for what it was, even though it was just kind of like an average match I could have been seen on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But everything also like Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss up, except for the finish to Jinder and Shinsuke, I still enjoyed it for SummerSlam. But that was definitely a big letdown pay-per-view.
Yeah, that was a dumpster fire, like my friend said. I really didn't enjoy SummerSlam because of a lot of ridiculous booking decisions. The Fatal 4-Way was the sole highlight for me.
Oh, definitely. That was the match. of the night, no doubt about it.
Oh, no doubt. I love how Raw built up to that match and how those guys just tore one another apart.
Indeed, yes.
But Rusev has not been benefiting. Like, I knew he wasn't going to win the flag match. I knew that for a fact. And then the thing with Randy Orton. So, if you have a rematch at Hell in a Cell, I like your idea of he can't use the RKO. I like that.
I mean, personally, that would make sense because you think about it, like every segment, like they've been involved and Orton's had his number. It's just been with the RKO. That's all he's been using to defeat Rusev. So Rusev is obviously going to want to pull, Orton's bow and arrow out of him and just make Orton just fight him without that move,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked a lot. We've definitely stated like what we've enjoyed and what we have not enjoyed. It's been for like almost like 2.5 hours, so we're almost putting on a pretty good episode of Raw here, guys. But let's end this though with an overall grade, Robbie. If you can give an overall grade to the brand split after 1 year, what would you give it?
I'd give it a, let me see. Now, is this including the Superstar Shakeup?
That is actually a good question.
Or do you want just between the brand split and Mania?
If you want to do it that way, then sure, that's fine with me.
Okay, if I was to give, I would give on the strength of everything that happened with SmackDown and a few of the good things that happened on Raw, I'd give it about a C+.
Okay, not too bad. I went with a B- because despite the fact that it has exposed, even though SmackDown's been inconsistent since the Superstar shakeup, I know they've had some really bad shows like not this past week, so the last week's SmackDown I thought was terrible. Of course, they had probably one of the worst pay-per-views since the brand split and Battleground. I still do like that, a lot of superstars have gotten opportunities since then.
Yeah.
And like, even though, they're not just just getting these opportunities just because there's no one else to fill these shoes. But I still feel like it's done that purpose, and it's at least given me more to look forward to in the product. But there's still some stuff like, too much of pay-per-views, too many. The thing about the titles is it can be good and some bad. The return's been a little bit of a disappointment. A couple call-ups from NXT have been disappointing, but we've had some good ones. But for the most part, I think it has made the product better and not just just one show that we're relying on to be good and then just a recap show throughout the weeks. That's why I'm going to give the brand split a B-.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a B-, but there are some things I didn't like. I'll still give it a strong C+ because like you said, if it wasn't for the brand split, SmackDown would probably still be that recap show. And instead, SmackDown became its own identity. Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan have did their thing as commissioner and general manager respectively. Like I said, names like AJ Styles, Nikki Bella, Alexa Bliss, the Usos, Carmella, James Ellsworth. I can't believe I'm saying it, but yes, they all benefited. And I like Ellsworth, don't get me wrong. Especially
duh. And Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's probably been the one who has benefited from the brand split the most, honestly, in my opinion. Because he went from nothing to now he's a main eventer.
Yep, he's going into the main event of No Mercy against Brock. I hope he beats Brock Lesnar.
Oh, definitely.
I really do. Like, I don't see anything. I mean, they'll probably have Brock win, but I can't really see any other result other than Braun beating Brock. It has to happen. Just have it happen so then Braun Strowman is the one guy that has Brock Lesnar's number. Yes, I know Goldberg beat him twice and then Brock got his win back, but I mean, imagine if you do Strowman and Brock and he beats Brock and Brock can never avenge that loss.
Right, exactly.
Legit guy that Brock can't beat, that has Brock's number, And
it's a shame, too, thinking of the fact that, the Universal title, despite being on a part-timer, feels more prestige right now than the WWE Championship. It's on a full-timer.
You know what? I want to say one more thing real quick before we go off the air. The Universal Championship was a huge con for me because I really wanted to give them a chance to give us a brand new belt, and they gave us that fruit roll-up title.
Yes, it's the same exact design, except that's something too about the title. Since WWE is so big on its colors, you know, before when it was the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship, right before they combined those titles, it had its own designs. Why couldn't we go with that this time? You know?
Yeah. Why couldn't they just come up with a hell? Daniel created a custom belt in 2K17 that looked a lot better than the Universal title. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember him showing me that.
Yeah. I remember seeing it. I remember just watching SummerSlam, and I said to myself, please do not let this belt look different. And instead, when they revealed it and it was just the WWE Championship with a red strap, I was like, you fucked up again, Raw. I knew it. You blew it.
Yeah. I'm like, really?
Yeah. And then the crowd chanted, this belt sucks, remember?
That's all they chanted during that match, and the match between Finn and Seth was actually really good. One of the better
match. I didn't let that chant stop me from enjoying the match, but
but they just care more about that title. I remember thinking also, what did they do? Did they ask Shinsuke if they can take part of its of his coat and just put it on his title? Because it looked like the same exact color material, just on a championship.
Yeah.
But I think we're about to wrap up here now as well. I know we went on for probably about 2.5 hours, but a very worthy talk. Discussed a lot of superstars who benefit, some who haven't, a couple other concepts here and there. Robbie, as always, thank you for joining me on this channel as well, and hope to keep doing more collaborations with you. Hopefully get Dan and Gene back here as well.
Yeah.
And before we go off the air, if you want to get a quick plug in for your channel, you may go right ahead.
Definitely. You guys can find me on Twitter and YouTube. Robbie1Kenobi, ROBBIE, the number 1 KENOBI. I love making videos about wrestling. I love collaborating with these guys. You know, Mike hasn't said it, but they are my Horseman brothers. We are the 4 Horsemen of the YWC. We just have a great time. So yeah, please support my channel. Please support Mike's channel and Dan's channel and Gene's channel as well. And yeah, we'll keep giving you guys great content. So yeah, thanks again, Mike, for having me, and look forward to our next collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Robbie. I know we've been trying to get this one done for a while. It's just been crazy lately with our schedules. We finally got to sit down and have the chat. Would be nice to have Dan and Gene here also, but I know they have other priorities right now going. I mean, I know Dan's, starting off with law school. I know Gene seemed like he's been busy with other stuff, and YouTube's been getting him some issues lately as well. Yeah. We hope to see him back here, because definitely miss talking with our oos.
Yeah, that's my oos right there, man.
Oh yes. But that'll do for this video, guys. Again, you can always check me out on Twitter at TheManAirboy93 and subscribe to my channel at the Club Man93. Again, please check out Robbie's channel as well as the other Horseman brothers, Daniel Gaiza and Gene from the VSP Wrestling Show. And with that, guys, yep, we're checking out, and we'll see you all later. Till then, guys, have a great night.
Take care, guys.